ever encountered toxic players before, Tarnished? And I mean the real ones. The ones that emanate unprovoked toxicity just because they decided to wake up and be a tumor that day.
Do you just wake up in the morning and think, holy shit, I'm gonna be a tumor today?
There's an old quote by late Irish poet and playwright Oscar Wilde that goes like this: "Give a man a mask, and he will tell you the truth." In other words, if you give a man a mask, they will show you their true face.
You mad, bro?
Anonymity lets people be who they really are, and we've always been firm believers of this theory. When there are no repercussions for saying or doing anything, people will most likely default to their true nature. And forgive me for sounding pretentious or cringe by saying this, but I believe it's the best way to describe today's video. Many people avoid multiplayer in Souls games because they understandably don't want to deal with the bullshit of the most bottom-of-the-barrel mutants that the community has to offer, and they can be found on either end, both invaders and hosts. Is it a big deal? In the grand scheme of things, not really. But it's always nice when these bullies get what's coming to them. So today I bring you two specimens taken out straight from the Ratchet realm, two despicable bullies that finally got what's coming to them. So without further ado, let's go. Before we jump into the action, the mystery weapon from our last video was the chain link flail. Congratulations to the winners. Good job, little poggies. Stay tuned until the end to play another game of Mystery Weapon. Our first story begins with Waifu recording footage for the Dragon Altar video, trying to show that you can be hit on normal shops, when a very peculiar invader shows up at level 30. The footage begins mid-invasion because Waifu pressed the record button late and only needed to be hit out of the shop once, but as you will see now, this was no normal invader. Yup, as you guessed it, this guy is cheating. He clearly amped up his stats to the max because this damage is totally not normal at level 30. But if you're still skeptical, let me finally turn you into a believer with this. Trying to record the footage, Waifu gets invaded by none other than Trusty Patches, prompting the arrival of a blue hunter. For those of you who don't know, when you activate Taunter's tongue and have an ally in your world, you're opening a slot for a second invader, waiting to be struck out of the shop to finally be done with the footage recording. And while we see this wholesome reunion, a pulsating sack of feces called Maidenless enters Waifu's world. And surprise, surprise, it's the cheater from before. This sad excuse for a human being wastes no time in one-shotting the poor blue hunter with Giant's Flame Take Thee, which requires 30 faith, mind you, prompting Waifu to attack. But for some reason, instead of the amount of damage, we see the IQ of this red piece of shit pop up. No, but seriously, just in case you had any doubts if this loser was cheating or not, he takes almost no damage. Waifu tries to signal Trusty Patches to attack the red abortion, and after a few moments processing the situation, Patches joins the battle against the rotten tomato paste. The damage output of the virgin cheetah is through the roof. So both Patches and Waifu gotta be super careful not to catch a direct hit from anything, while also avoiding friendly fire between each other. Patches deals negligible damage to the cheetah, so Waifu decides to pull out the good old blood flame, reserved for these situations, as bleed deals percentage damage. Both Patches and Waifu start throwing rotten lightning pots while the abomination casts Burn O Flame, punishing his stupid decision-making abilities. Afterwards, Waifu gives chase with the bleed claws, proving that the monster can bleed despite having cheated stats. Victory is not impossible. Sadly, though, a miscalculation gets Patches cosplaying the Human Torch, leaving Waifu to fight the Walking Witch abortion alone. As trading with that clause was not an option, Waifu switches to a Bleed Antspur Rapier with Poison Mist, inflicting 3 status effects at the same time on the orc abortion, perfect to apply pressure. At the same time, the blue hunter that was Thanos snapped previously makes a comeback with vengeance written all over his face. After inflicting venereal diseases with his rooty tooties, Waifu switches back to the claws, now that he has support, and gives chase once again, and after running in circles, drooling and pooping his pants, the abomination goes down. Many thanks, Hunter Vitor. You give blue hunters a good name, and thanks to you too, Trusty Patches. Your sacrifice was not in vain. Our second story happened quite a few months ago, and it started with Waifu invading a gamer called Mr. Peeler in the Magic Academy gate in Liurnia. Waifu greets the guy as usual, while this person is stacking every possible buff in the game. The battle starts, and Waifu assumes by default that the guy has a good deal of latency, as it tends to be the case with PC encounters, but discovers that this gamer actually has a good connection. So he must be also from South America. Waifu is caught off guard by Storm Stomp, which we have discussed before is quite a brain-dead ash of war, and due to making some mistakes, Waifu loses the encounter, only for the host to celebrate in this manner. Yeah, not very sportsmanlike, but as they say, it is what it is. So we move on. Except for the fact that there's a little surprise in Waifu's profile.
I'm going to feed you your own heart.
Waifu reinvades the area and finds the guy again. Sadly though, the idiot started recording halfway through the match after having slapped Mr. Peeler in the face a couple of times already, causing the scared little loser to chug a healing flask. So much for the so-called duelist, huh? Keeping in mind Storm Stomp and the connection of the breathing tumor, Waifu adapts and plays accordingly, forcing the specimen not only to keep chugging those yoo-hoos, but to actually start retreating into the elevator like a clown. Sadly, Waifu follows his strategy and starts taking a beating in the confined space of the elevator. With this sad excuse for a human being dealing brutal amount of damage due to all of the buffs he has, Waifu is forced to retreat into the PvE to be able to catch a break and reset. Barely making it to the mages of the Raya Lucaria, Waifu manages to reset and chases the three-dimensional skid mark back to the elevator, where more Storm Stomp shenanigans start to ensue. This Fisher-Price patented elevator game continues for quite a while, with the broken condom going up and down, avoiding his responsibilities as a bonfire duelist by being the most obnoxious little butthole abortion possible, as Storm Stomp is super strong in confined spaces. Waifu at this point wasn't skilled enough to swap to other weapons to properly counter this dumb strategy, so a different approach was taken. In one of the instances where the toad fart arrived at the lower level, Waifu taunted him in order to lure him into the arena again. The Ogrekin took this taunting to heart and fell into Waifu's game, conceding the fight in the reigns of Liurnia. Sadly for him, little did he know that by doing this he signed his own demise. But the most hilarious part of all was his reaction to perishing.
Rosie, I love this boy.
And those were today's stories, Tarnished. To make it clear, there's nothing inherently wrong at the end of the day with being an anonymous prick, as nobody gets hurt. But why the need to be one, though? Souls PvP already struggles to bring new players into the mix, and people like this guy definitely do not help fix that. So make the difference, Tarnished.
Remember what I told you.
Don't be a cunt.
Little Ravioli, it's 4 PM, time to play Mystery Weapon. Judging by the stats alone, what weapon is this? Leave your answers in the comments below, and the winners will be featured in the next video. And if you enjoyed this one, feel free to leave a like, a comment, and share it with friends. Consider subscribing to OnlyWaifu for more videos like this. Be sure to hit the gym at least 3 times a week. And as always, thanks for watching.